Hey guys, welcome back to Fender Iron and Customs. I'm Michael, and today is going to be the February 11th issue of Febudaily for 2024. Today, we're going to get into making these inner fender wells for this Volkswagen, and let's get started. Alright guys, I've already cut the buck that I made, and I mentioned this a couple of days ago, this wire form buck that fits the left side fender well. And we have broken a weld loose right there. Let me go back and tack that before we get started. But so I did talk about this the other day in a different video, but I made this on Friday night, just out here messing around in the shop, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this to make some inner fender wells. And I do want to say a couple things before I get started. I'm not a professional metal shaper. I'm doing this for fun. So if you guys are, doing this, I'm just showing you the way that I'm doing it. I'm sure somebody can say there's a better way or a more right way to do it or whatever. But here's the thing. The right way is whatever it takes to get it done, whatever it takes to make sure the metal is welded and the car is safe to drive. Alright, y'all get out in your shop, y'all have a good time, get that car running, and have some fun. So anyway, let me get this welded up. Okay guys, so I've got this wire form buck that I made, and what I am doing is, like I said, I'm just planning on making from here forward. From here back, I'm going to have to probably make another wire form to get it the way that I'm going to want it. So what I'm just doing is taking I'm going to attempt to take some of this here masking tape. If it's not, oh, it's going to be aggravating, isn't it? I should have got some more masking tape while I was at the Lowe's. Alright, we're going to aggravate with it. We may have to go to time lapse or something. But, so, a little piece of tape. I'm going to tape it here to keep it pretty much from moving. And I'm going to bring my Sharpie, and I don't think I brought a Sharpie out here. So I'll definitely have to go to the Sharpie. I've got to go to the van and grab something anyway. So, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to cut right along here. It's a rough shape. On my pattern, oops, on my pattern, I don't know if y'all will notice, I think I'm going to actually bring the pattern further out to like here, to give myself plenty of steel to play with so I can make a decision once I see it in the car. So we're just going to tape this here and here to try to keep it from moving around. Tape it here. Now, go ahead and cut this bottom off and get it out of the way. And I'm definitely going to have to go get a Sharpie. So what we're going to do is, and I may need to have added a few more, what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of tape. And we're going to start working our way around the wire form on here. The big wrinkle there, that's probably going to have a difference. So what we're trying to do is create wrinkles and get this to lay against the wire form butt. Can you even see me? Let me go adjust that camera. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is get this to adjust to the wire form to where it will lay flat. And every one of these wrinkles is where the metal is going to have to shrink. I think we would probably be almost just a little better if we had a little thinner paper. It would be easier to work with. This has gotten a little damp. You know, North Carolina humidity is what it is. So we're creating a tuck there. And we got to create a tuck right there. Alright. What I'm going to do, I need to go get my Sharpie. What we're going to end up doing, what this is going to end up doing is it's going to give us an idea about how much metal. Once we cut this, we'll know what shape the metal needs to be we need to cut out. And it will also kind of show us where we need to shrink the metal to make it, because this is going to have to be shrunk. It's either got to be shrunk or it's going to have to be stretched, and if we stretch this, we're going to have to stretch all of this, at least in my mind. So let me grab a Sharpie and I'll be back. Okay, so I just took the Sharpie and I went along the edge where it meets the edge. I'm going to cut it off there, and before I take it off, I'm going to cut it off even with here. And you see this is cut here, so I'm just going to make the whole piece of metal that I cut out is going to be an inch bigger than what this paper ends up. I'm going to cut it out and I'll come back. Alright guys, I've marked them out just a little bigger, about an inch bigger all the way around. Nothing too precise. We're going to cut it and get her done. Alright guys, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to start the bend, and what I've done is I got a piece of inner tube and I put on the wheel. That way it won't stretch the metal, it'll only bend the metal in the shape of the curve. And I'm going to run a few passes through, and then I'm going to go to a sharper angle. I have found an angle that is pretty close, the 6-degree curve, and it may be a little sharper than 6-inch radius, but that's where I'm going to start, and then I'm going to go up to probably definitely a taller than a 6. We'll pull out the radius in a minute and find out. But what I've done is I have marked where the bend is going to go. Let's see, this one is going to be for the driver's side, so it needs to go bend this way. So actually I've marked it on the right side to start with. So we're gonna I'm gonna put the line right on the edge of the wheel. We can always go more, it's hard to take it away. So we're gonna go with a fairly decent amount of pressure, and I'm gonna go right along the radius of the curve. Oops, getting off there a little bit. Just gonna run through a couple of times And this is going to get our curve started. We're going to have to shrink it, but oops, we're going to go a little closer to the line. We're going to have to shrink it, but we're going to start by making a curve, and then we're going to slowly work up on it. Guys, this video may end up being 2 parts. I have been thinking about this, how to make this, for a couple of days now, and that inner tube is about to walk off of there. I've been thinking about how to make this for a couple of days, and just trying to go over in my mind what makes sense to me. I'll pull it out. You know, start to see we're getting some shape in there, and pretty soon we're going to start getting it's going to have to start coming over more than that. I'm going to run it through a couple more times, and then I'm going to go to a different curve. But at some point we're going to have to start shrinking that curve. And that's what I'm saying, is y'all have to do what makes sense to you. Get out here and play with it. You can learn from the masters, absolutely. Learn from the masters. But until you get out here playing with this metal and moving this metal, see that I'm gonna actually Carl talks about, somebody has one of these. This was very hard to get on here, so I'm trying to be mindful, making sure it doesn't come off. I'm about to go to a different radius. So y'all can see we got some shape. I'm gonna go to a different radius. All right, guys, I've gone to a 3-inch radius. We're gonna make just a couple more passes. More pressure. Like I said, because of the rubber wheel, we're not introducing any stretch into the panel. We're just shaping it. We're just bending it over to the shape of the die that we're going through the panel with. All right, I need to come out of there. I need to loosen off of that. Got a little bit of a misstroke. All right, a lot of shape going in there. And if you'll notice, because we're forcing it to bend, we're starting to get some crown reverse in here. We want this flat, so now we're going to have to start shrinking. I want to see how much more I want to go before I start trying to shrink. What I'm doing is I'm going right back to the table, and I'm laying the panel down, and this is where you really see, so it needs to come on over. But see, now we got all this crown in the panel, so now we need to start. We got shrinking here. We probably could have shrank to begin with, but the reason why I chose to shrink after I started wheeling was I wanted to have kind of a guideline going as to where the shrink needed to go, if that makes any sense. So let me get out the shrinking stump, and we'll find the hammer, and we're gonna get after it. All right, guys, it's looking like a whole bunch of nothing right this minute. I'm just trying to kind of, because I haven't done this since I made the stump, so create my tuck. Folding the edge over, lock the tuck in, and then shrinking it down. I may end up going to get the tucking fork to try to get this a little better. had a couple of them do really well, and most of it I'm just mucking up. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna start working on this a little harder. I'm actually probably not gonna work on it any harder. I don't know if I can go any harder. So we're trying to create a fold. There we go. It's all about technique and getting your technique right. There we go. Creates a nice little tuck there. Alright guys, I kind of messed with it a little bit and got it in a little bit closer shape, but it's a long way. I've gone back to the 3-inch die and the wheel. I'm going to have to let off of that a little bit. And right now, we're just trying to get the lumps and lumps out. Lots of lumps and bumps. Bring y'all in here. Trying to get them walnuts out. I ain't concerned with getting it 100% smooth right this minute. I want to get them walnuts out so we can see where we're at. And you can see we're still stretching. We're stretching here. We're probably going to have to come back out and wash through this middle to get it to lay down. Let's see what the buck looks like on it. And that's maybe as far as I get tonight. Okay, what I was saying is I'm just going to go back to my flattest die. You can see that we still got to come around down here, but I can probably bend that by hand. Yeah, because this is almost straight here. This is where you start getting your shape. That's probably close. What I want to do is try to get the middle down. So I'm going to run my flattest die through there and try to wheel that panel. And let's see, we need to get it to come down. Let me add my flat die and we'll come back. Okay guys, I broke out the old tucking fork, and all you do is you bend the metal this way and then you bend it that way to create a tuck. I'm thinking that I may, if I knew exactly where I need to cut this off, and I may lay the buck in here and get an idea about where we can trim back to get so that I'm not fighting, because I'm having to shrink a whole extra inch over what we need. And all right, anyway, see what I'm doing? I created a tuck, fold up end, and all right, and that's one tuck. And we'll take our tucking tool and get in here, and we create a tuck one way. I know that's hard for y'all to see. I actually need to make a tucking fork with a longer handle on it to do it with this 18 gauge, because it's so tough to move. And that's the thing, if you guys are out here wanting to learn how to do this stuff, just like me, wanting to learn how to do this stuff, it's tough. You know, these guys that swing these hammers all day long and do this stuff, it takes some work to get it done. So be aware that that's a lot of work. But to me, it's very relaxing and very rewarding. It's just like any time I'm out at the forge, forging something. So, and you can see along the edges where all these places where the metal is shrunk. So I think what I am going to do, I'm going to call it there for tonight. I was going to come back and work on this tomorrow night and do it all in one video, but this video is going to go on for a while. So we're just going to do a part 1 and a part 2 to make this side, and then we may do a part 3 to do that side. Whatever it takes, because this is Febudaily, and this is what I'm doing Febudaily, is making fenders. I do need to get up and be able to go to work in the morning though. And that tucking hammer I made is very nice for making them tucks, but it's hard to swing. I will tell you, I kind of looked at a deep throat stretcher, and I watched a video, I think it was a video that Lazia did about making gas tanks and using a deep throat stretcher to get deep into these areas. And I almost think it's worthwhile to get one. They're kind of expensive. I did see an Evil Bay one for like $150 or $60-ish, but it goes up from there like $500 to $1,000. So, you know, however much money you want to spend in one. But I really do think it would help with the shrinking process on this. So, like I said, like and subscribe. I'll see y'all tomorrow. This video's probably went on very long. That's the reason why I decided to do 2 parts. So, we're going to get after it.